Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Eliana Aaron, Director of EMA Care. It is May 5th, 2020. We're on day 75 of the Israel coronavirus. And I'm going to talk to you today about some of the criteria of going back to work. I'm going to talk about what the standards are that Israel is looking for to maintain some of the opening of the markets and public places that we've had so far. And I'm also going to talk about what the plan is in terms of opening. What are we supposed to anticipate over the next few weeks? So I'm going to start off by just talking about risk categories. The government has now categorized the risks based on the research that's out with the 3.7 million people in the world who have coronavirus. And they identified 6 categories of people who are high risk. And each one is equivalent to a point. And then depending on your age, the number of points is very significant as to whether it's safe for you to go back to work and to be in public places. So those 6 categories are heart or blood vessel disease, blood pressure, high blood pressure, diabetes, smokers for 10 years or more, BMI of 30 or more, which is a little sensitive because those of us who have been in quarantine or pretty much closed into our homes for the last month and a half, people have been gaining weight. So BMI of 30 or more, which is considered obese. And anyone who has been hospitalized in the last 3 years, except for giving birth, each hospitalization is considered another point. So basically, for people who are 49 years or younger, if they have 4 of these criteria, 4 points, then that's considered high risk. If they're between 50 and 69, then if they have 2 points, that's considered high risk. And anyone age 70 and over, basically, what it says here is they still don't really want them going to work because just their age enough is enough of a risk factor. So that being said, if you have 3 or more of these situations and you're over 70, then they really want you to stay at home and you're at the highest risk. So someone who is 70 and healthy shouldn't be going back to work, but can, function, go out of their house, I guess go to the supermarket if they need to, medical appointments and things like that. Someone who has old age, which is considered 70, even though 70 is not particularly old, but someone who's 70 who has 3 points or more of these criteria, they should really be at home and they should not be going anywhere because they are at an extreme risk. So that being said, I think that definition certainly helps people in terms of figuring out what they are supposed to do and what is, if they could go back to work, and how to categorize the risk for even younger people. Okay, so what are the criteria that the government is looking for to keep things moving in the direction of opening up the economy and opening up the country? So first of all, 100 new cases a day or more. So once we get to 100, we're currently at 38, 43. We're staying in that below 50 range. Once we get to 100, and I hope we don't get to 100, then the government is going to start increasing the restrictions again. The other thing that they're looking for is how fast we're multiplying our total numbers. And that's going to be related to new numbers as well. But they're looking for a 10-day multiplication or exponential growth of 10 days. That would obviously mean that we would anyway have more than 100 new cases a day. And if we have 250 or more critical cases. So right now, our critical cases have been stabilizing as they drop. And these are the things that the government is looking for, which will help them determine that we are getting to a danger zone and we have to go back and tighten up the regulations again. So as of this week, some things have been opened up, and I'm going to review them very quickly. The 100-meter restriction of going out of your home is now gone. You are allowed to visit family members of the first degree, which is good. They're still not recommending for children and grandchildren to be touching each other, but visits are allowed with the appropriate distancing, mask, etc. Before they weren't even allowed. You are allowed to meet with up to 20 people in open spaces and with distancing, but at least you can have 20 people in that open space. The malls are going to be opening, and the shuks are going to be opening on Thursday, but no eating on site. So, you know, Machane Yehuda is known for its eateries. Those are still going to be takeaways. And slowly more educational facilities will be opening. And some of the parks and other tourist destinations will open without animals and without sleeping, no camping grounds. And the gyms are opening up on Thursday as well. And Zimmers and hotels are going to be opening up, but without food. So there won't be any spaces for people to gather. There won't be dining rooms. There won't be lobby sitting. So they do want to open that up, but of course we don't have any tourism going on. So I guess they're hoping that some Israelis in quarantine just want to get out. What we're expecting by Sunday is that the GAN, the nursery schools, are going to open up. They are under a lot of guidelines and restrictions. They have to wear masks. My daughter sent me the 7-page list of the new restrictions on the nursery school for my granddaughter. One of the problems I had with it is that one of the things that was required is, please explain to the children that they can't touch each other. Well, they're 2 years old. So that's a bit of an issue, and that's concerning. Obviously, when you're talking about higher risk people visiting, then that's obviously something very concerning. By next week, there should be gatherings allowed for up to 50 people in open spaces. So if you think about people getting together for davening, for praying, that could be up to 50 people, but outdoors. We're not going indoors yet. The following week, we're expecting museums and up to 20 people playing sports, but non-contact sports. So I guess soccer and things like that, but that's another stage. And then by the end of the month, expecting that we could go up to 100 people gathered in open spaces. So that would even lead to 100-person wedding outdoors, which is not too bad. And the schools are going to open up the rest of the classes that are still missing, which is grades 4 through 10. Informal education will open, the parks will reopen, and the public spaces, the pools will open, and competitive sports will open without crowds. And we're not sure yet when restaurants will open. And then by mid-June, we're expecting that there will no longer be a restriction on gathering. So any amount of people would be okay. We expect universities to open, theater and movie theaters, and to have a partial reopening of international travel. We have to see what that's going to look like. But we anticipate that when tourism is opened, that the 14-day mandatory quarantine will be eliminated at that point, because tourists come for an average of 10 days, and you can't expect tourists to come to Israel and spend their entire trip in Israel locked in a hotel room. Doesn't make any sense. So I think that's something that we should anticipate in June. So these are some of the things that we're going to be looking for. Again, once we start hitting any danger zones, everything's going to start retracting back to where we, more into orientation of where we are now. But so far, we're doing well. Very careful monitoring. I think the government is going to be orienting towards eliminating hotspots as they flare. So the country might be open, but specific neighborhoods may be closed if they have an increase in cases. And it's entirely possible that we will have a pretty normal summer and still have residual cases going on a low level. And then the second wave will start, and we'll start seeing some of those upticks in the fall. So that's it for today. I hope everyone stays healthy, stays well, and uses good sense and good precautions in starting to slowly go back to a normal existence. Take care.